Oh, good. Maybe I'm live. I do this all the time. I'm like an old lady. Okay. Checking connection. Oh, I'm live. Oh, I'm live. I'm live everywhere. Good. Hello, everyone. It's late, huh? That's okay. I wanted to come through the internet to you to talk about the full moon eclipse, which is actually not too far from now. I think the peak is at 1:45. And I don't know. I looked it up. I don't know if that was central or not. I'm on central time. So that would be cool to see tonight if you're up. I know it's going to be Monday tomorrow, the 30th, but that's okay. Again, we only live once, right? Maybe not. What does it mean? What's an eclipse mean? Well, I look at an eclipse as like a reset button from whatever you want to say this is, God, spirit, love, energy, whatever, whatever you want to say it is. But it's like a big reset button. This is a lunar penumbral, which means it's just partial. And in astrology, you can see that on the chart even. There's this little thing called the nodes, and the nodes of the moon are where eclipses happen. And so anytime the sun and the moon are close to these nodes, we have an eclipse. A lunar eclipse is a shadow thrown by the earth onto the moon. So the sun's in Sagittarius and the moon is in Gemini. And this axis, and this is why I love astrology, because it really explains duality so well. It just describes it. I mean, astrology is a language, right? So it really describes the concept of duality in reality. And every sign in astrology has an opposite and equal, if you will, like the yin and the yang. So the Gemini Sagittarius axis, which are opposite each other in the zodiac, are archetypally associated with knowing, communication, truth, belief, thinking, thought. That is the Gemini Sagittarius axis. Gemini is more of the frenetic kind of exchange of information, the thought processes, the way we take in information, the way we listen is a very Gemini thing. Sagittarius is more about knowledge and belief, and it's almost like a container a little bit. And I say that because Sagittarius is also associated with religion and spirituality, but what man considers religion and spirituality, because it's in the confines of Saturn. Jupiter orbits within Saturn. So Saturn is rules and structure, and so Sagittarius is what man can know and understand about religion, spirituality, philosophy. And so the sun is there in Sagittarius right now, and the moon is making its way to exact opposition right now as we speak. It's at like 5 degrees, I believe, of Gemini it is. And the lunar eclipse happens at 8 degrees of Gemini. And so we think of a reset in terms of the way we think. And then full moon is always letting go anyway. So, you're kind of letting go and resetting at the same time. And that's why it's really nice. Now, the full moon in Gemini comes before the new moon in Sagittarius, which is kind of odd. I mean, you usually have a new moon in a sign and then a full moon. So when it swaps like that, to me, it's odd because we started this moon cycle in Scorpio at the new moon of Scorpio. And Scorpio is a heavy theme for this full moon lunar eclipse because Scorpio is where Mercury is, and Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. So it's sort of filtered through this Scorpio lens, which is a Mars territory, right? And so I think in terms of the cycle being started in Scorpio, Mercury right now being in Scorpio, we can look through the lens of Scorpio to see what this Gemini full moon lunar eclipse might mean for us. And, I think Scorpio, ruled by Mars, and Mercury, or Hermes, work very well together. Mars goes towards a goal. it's action oriented, and Mercury can help kind of define the scope of that goal. You know, what am I going after? I know I'm going after something. What am I going after? And so they work very well together. And, you know, I wrote a little bit. There's a blog I just put up, and you can read all of this in written form. But I read a little bit about this concept called Weltanschauung. Y'all are going to have to forgive me. I can't. It's a German word. Weltanschauung. I'm so bad at it. But it's a cognitive philosophy term introduced by Kant, K-A-N-T, and it refers to the worldview of people, a family. It could be a family or a person. So like the worldview of a culture. And I think they even said that language is a part of the worldview of a culture, right? And so that's what this full moon eclipse kind of is bringing in for me. You know, it's a reset of our worldview. And that's why the whole Mars energy plays into this, because when worldview is challenged, conflict ensues. And that's kind of happening on the collective level. It's the natural reaction. When your worldview is challenged, you want to do something about it, whether it be to rebel against the challenge or to rebel against the old worldview. So, I mean, that's a theme for right now. And I think the problem comes right now with misinformation, which is another sort of theme that we've had going on. With the Neptune retrograde. Neptune was heavily involved in the Capricorn transits over this year. It sextiled Saturn and Jupiter a few times, and now Neptune has just gone direct. And Neptune and Pisces are naturally in what we call a square in astrology with Gemini and Sagittarius. So, and they're actually square, it's square the nodes right now, exactly. Or within 1 degree, yeah, because the nodes, if you see me squinting, I'm looking at the astrology chart. The nodes are at 19 and Neptune's at 18 Pisces. So this theme of misinformation has been big as well lately. And the problem with, you know, the internet, I think, and with, I mean, this new technology, which Gemini is an air sign, it rules technology, it rules innovation. And the way we're communicating only on social media, that's information dissemination right now, is through these social media platforms that we decide to be a part of. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, oh my gosh, all the new ones, right, that are popping up, TikTok, all of that. And anyone can say anything they want, which is a very Gemini idea. You get to just speak and say and test out things. It's the trickster, right? And so anyone can come up and write anything and say it's truth, and it will spread. This truth that people say, this is the truth, will spread so fast. I mean, within days and sometimes even hours. A completely false piece of information can take hold just because someone said it was true. And then you get into the misinformation, or maybe confusion is what that turns into with Neptune. And it can be people picking and choosing pieces of facts, right? So that's a huge theme for right now. Now, the Sabian symbol for this full moon lunar eclipse, partial penumbral lunar eclipse, is, you read the Sabian symbol for the degree after. So it's the 9th degree, 9th Sabian symbol of Gemini, and it's a quiver full of arrows. And that's associated with the word conquest. Here we go. We got Mars coming in again. Mars ruling the Scorpio Mercury. It's the traditional ruler, I should say. The modern rulers, Pluto, I like to look at them as co-rulers, but Mars really is Scorpio for me. Especially since I've been practicing Hellenistic astrology recently. So we've got this Mars territory, and even the Sabian symbol reflects sort of war, conquest. I mean, conquest, I don't think you can not associate with war, right? So the symbol of a quiver full of arrows is so apropos. Like, it's like, what are we going to choose to pierce through to the truth, right? That's what we're being asked to do, is to pierce through the truth. So here's your chance, right? To take a look at the things coming out of the mouths or via the keyboards of the people you listen to. That's me, right? If you're even listening. Ha ha. I'm just talking. I'm doing the very Gemini thing. But really, choose to take a look at these things. What are people saying? What are you listening to? What are you believing? You have to get the quiver full of arrows and kind of pierce through to the truth here. And then, you might find something that challenges your worldview, but you don't want to be in an echo chamber. That's a huge problem. I mean, with, again, the platforms you choose to be in, the people you choose to follow, you could just be following and listening to people that reinforce your worldview. I certainly don't relish the thought that's what I might be doing. I heard someone, and I can't remember, this might have been on TikTok that I saw this video of a psychologist who said, in order to combat confusion, misinformation, or even, what's the phrase for cognitive bias? I think maybe that's what it is. To combat that, to take 2 weeks trying to prove something you believe wrong, like actively trying to do it. Try to prove something wrong that you believe, that you hold true. I think that's a great exercise to do right now. And I don't know if it's one that you can, it's hard to get out of that echo chamber that I want to reinforce what I want to reinforce, right? So, I mean, this could be a time to really clear out the lies we tell ourselves. Oh, that's just, I mean, I kind of even need to sit with that myself, We all tell ourselves lies. We trick ourselves into comforting ourselves, maybe not in a healthy way. And of course, I'm not sitting in judgment of anything, but I know that I lie to myself sometimes. And I know that I choose to reinforce my worldview. And right now, that is not the thing we need to be doing. Don't sit in comfort reinforcing your worldview. This eclipse is a chance to go, what am I believing? What information am I taking in? Is it something that challenges me? Am I vetting this information? Am I truly trying to figure out if this information is real? I mean, gosh, I don't want to bring in how kind of creepy and Black Mirror like, reality can be right now, but the deep fake stuff, right? Is this person really talking to me? That is the way of the future. And I think maybe this eclipse can bring up these issues. And of course, filtered through this Scorpio lens, the secrets, the dark, the shadow, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go through the signs for this. I like to go through it by rising sign. You can also listen to your sun sign. And if you don't know your rising sign, there's so many free apps to get your chart. You just have to know the time of birth and the day and year of birth, and you get your chart just pulled up pretty quickly to see if you know what your rising sign, your moon sign, all the big ones. Or you can also get a session with me because I love to do it. I do it every day and it's my favorite thing to do. But for now, I'm just going to go through the signs for the full moon lunar eclipse. So Aries rising or Aries sun, and I will upload this on YouTube later as well, and hopefully tag the timestamps of the signs. Also, I have a blog I just posted on Instagram and it's on my website, ecstaticastrology.com. Click on blog. I also have this written down. So Aries rising your sun. I believe you're going to be getting rid of old information surrounding the way that you share yourself and your resources with others. If you've had a previously hard time speaking up about your boundaries, this full moon lunar eclipse is a chance to let go of the lies that have kept you from doing that. What lies are you telling yourself that you can't speak up and say, no, this is a boundary of mine. I don't like it this way. I like it that way. Can you speak up and say that? And if not, what are you feeding yourself that keeps you from doing that? So just don't be afraid to be yourself and for people to see you right now. So the goal here is to quit taking in the information that may be false that keeps you in a place of disempowerment. So it could mean telling a sibling or a neighbor to keep their opinions to themselves. I mean, that could be a thing. But just be intentional about the social media communities that you're involved with. I think being intentional about the communities you're involved with is a huge deal right now for Aries rising or sun, especially in terms of sharing information. But just don't be afraid to be yourself. Show up authentically and tell people, this is a boundary you've crossed. I don't want you to cross this boundary. So Taurus rising or sun, this Gemini full moon lunar eclipse has you clearing out old information regarding your value and self-worth. You may have to dive pretty deep to see what may be falsehoods that you are taking in that keeps you in a place of low self-worth, or, you know, some people say, they say poverty mindset. And I don't know if I like to use that word poverty, but just, you know, the mindset of not abundance, let's put it that way. So if you have maybe a business partner or lover that doesn't support you or even tears you down, this would be a good time to draw the line in the sand there. Don't believe the lies that keep you from having the abundant life you deserve. And that means putting an end to emotional blackmail that has you giving more than what you get. When you actually work to clear out the falsehoods around your own self-worth, you can open up to a deeper connection with others and to deeper parts of yourself. All right, Gemini rising or sun, this full moon is a chance for you to stop taking in misinformation around your health or your habits or your everyday life, including what you do for work every day. So this is a chance to really take back the power over your habits. You may have to open your mind to the fact that you can be your biggest obstacle to growth. You can't let life live you, you know, like you have to choose to live your life. This means making decisions to do what you need to do to have an empowered life. If this means you have to kind of look at the lies you may be telling yourself or taking in from others about what's good for you and what's not, you know. But if you don't acknowledge habits that hold you back, or maybe acknowledge the job is making you unhappy or unhealthy, then you can't open up to the belief that you can take the necessary steps to make it better. You have to actually acknowledge that something is not going right, you know, in order to make it better. Let me see. Is that it for the Gemini rising? Yeah, and I think that that's eventually going to open you up to some deeper connection, maybe with relationship coming up in December, because that's where the new moon will be. So Cancer rising, Cancer sun. This is a chance to stop telling yourself that nothing you say, think, or do matters. I'm a Cancer rising. I get it, right? You may be dealing with information that you received as a kid or something that wounded your inner child that's hard for you to let go of, like a story you tell yourself about yourself, and it started maybe when you were a kid. So the good thing is that this new moon is like the ultimate chance for a reset to like your background programming. I love that thought, that we have a background programming, and we do. I mean, that's what the whole field of psychology is trying to figure out, right? So I think that this is a good chance to get in touch with your inner child and why it's afraid of what others think. Like, what are you telling yourself that's like, oh, I don't want them to think this or that? What did you hear that made you quit believing in this inner child, like this being this creative self, right? This open-hearted, sort of fun-loving kid. And I know that's a hard thing for adults to get in touch with, but to really open that up is to kill the inner critic, right? And if you do that, you open up to a world of possibilities. So in case no one told you, you have a deeply powerful creative spirit, and it's worthy of being shared with the world. Any information that is in opposition to that is a lie. You are allowed to have fun. You're allowed to express yourself. So don't let anyone tell you otherwise. All right, Leo rising or sun. This is the time to stop taking in false information that is keeping you from feeling safe and keeping you in emotional disempowerment. Well, that's like no pressure, right? So, I mean, this is really, it can be related to your family. It doesn't matter what your family thinks or says. You can be your best source of comfort. And also, it may be that you need comfort from your family, but I think that it'll do you good to open up and talk about what you feel. I think the Leo risings or Leo suns maybe keep their emotions on lockdown. Maybe they feel like they're a little too deep, or their inner emotional world is a little too kind of shadowy. But opening up and shining light there is kind of an important thing. No, it really is. And it will help you to, when you talk about it, when you open up, it'll help you to kind of clear out this junk data. It's Gemini. We have to talk about data. Data is a better way to say it. That's what my partner corrects me. It's data. So clearing out the junk data that has been instilled in you from maybe cultural or familiar roots, you do that by talking about it. It is worthy of tending to that place in yourself. So it will allow you to feel more confident and connected to your friend groups and community if you open up and trust them. Then you can open up to a future that maybe is more fun and adventurous than the one that was based on what others told you about yourself. Virgo rising or sun, this full moon is a chance to let go of cyclical and worrisome thought processes that can keep you from your greatest success. Virgos, when you are focused on something, you can become obsessive about it. No judgment. We all have Virgo somewhere. But Virgo risings or suns, this is especially true for you. And therefore, you think maybe that you know what is best because you've done all the data processing that needs to be done. You've figured it out. The opportunity here is maybe to allow yourself to open up to the possibility that the missing data is the data that comes from others' opinions, other people. If you can manage to open up to outside opinions and guidance, maybe you'll see that there was a missing piece there. So open up your mind. It means a greater chance of success in the outer world and career. Libra rising or sun, this eclipse is inviting you to do away with old ways of thinking around money, values, and resources, and how that connects to what you believe about reality in general. So if you've always felt like money has power over you in some way, this is a perfect opportunity to do away with that notion. And I'm getting this from the Mercury in Scorpio. The relationship between what is yours and what you share with others is undergoing a reset with this eclipse. And it will lead to clearing out of beliefs. It's a reset of your whole belief system, really. And if you open up to that and kind of say, okay, you know what, maybe what I thought was right, or maybe the way I associated this belief with money, it's really about money and values as well, or self-worth, then you can open up to new horizons. But you have to really let go of some sort of old thinking around money, values, resources. And old lies that you tell yourself, right? That's what I've been saying. The lies that you tell yourself about, this is the way I have to make money, or this is the way I have to have this stuff, or I have to do it this way. Maybe you need to learn something new, going to a financial, course, or Dave Ramsey. I mean, well, it's probably a bad example, but you know what I mean. Because I think it really is about what, your ninth house. Let me make sure. I want to get this right. Yeah, that's right. It is the ninth house. Learning, opening up to new information, higher education, clearing out of beliefs. Scorpio rising, that's where I'm at, right? Scorpio rising and sun. Oh yeah, that's right. This eclipse is all about you. If you've been hearing whispers that you will always have to work hard to get others to love you, that's a lie. This can be a little bit of an identity crisis, but it ends with this eclipse. And the way it ends is with you listening to what others are saying. So you have to kind of consider, how do you appear to others? You know, maybe you've held a belief, and that's the way you come off to others. Maybe you're like, I know I'm too controlling. So then that's what you put off to others, when really they may not think that if you were actually to be yourself. And I think that's the ultimate message. Quit listening to the misinformation that you always have to try hard to win others over, because you're going to lie to yourself in that process somehow. You know, I think that's what they want of me, so that's what I'm going to be. And if you can kind of try to clear out that belief system, then you could really open up to the abundance that you deserve. I think being yourself will draw your ultimate ideal teammate in. This eclipse is in your 8th house, which has to do with sharing resources and merging with someone else. But to do that, you have to let go of old beliefs you have about who you are, or maybe who others want you to be. Just be yourself. All right, Sagittarius rising or sun. Hello, this full moon is a spiritual reset for you. It requires you to quiet the voice inside that continually feeds your fears back to you. Your fears are filled with misinformation. So you may have always felt more in control when you were able to escape reality in some way. If you can let go of the belief that past pain and loss means you can't have the future you desire, if you can deal with the false beliefs that feed your fear, obstacles will be removed for you, especially in terms of how you relate to others, relationships, romantic, business partnerships, that sort of thing. And I think you'll have a greater sense of peace. I mean, obviously, I think that's, you know, whether it was astrology or not, dealing with your fears is a path to peace. So, I mean, you know, meditation, I'm thinking about all of the sort of tools you could use to deal with letting go of the belief that past pain, past hurt is somehow keeping you from your happiness. Capricorn rising or sun. It's time for you to dive deep into any false information surrounding friend groups, social networks, and future goals. Your worldview is being challenged in terms of who you want to surround yourself with. And this whole year, really, for Capricorn rising, Capricorn sun, has been an exploration in who you are in the world, sort of your identity, how you show up. So you could be dealing with old beliefs that you have to be a certain way in order to fit in. The power lies in being able to change your daily habits and your career and your health routine. Making better choices in everyday life equals loftier goals and a more supportive and healthy network. So it's the idea that you choose every day the life you want to have. I think for Capricorn risings, that's the ultimate idea with that. I'm just looking at the chart to make sure that's, yeah, because the full moon's in your 6th house. And this really does reflect on the people that you hang out with, the groups that you're in, the networks, the tribe that you belong to. your whole life is reflected in those people. So if you're hanging around with people who are taking from you, make better choices every day to not be around those people. Let go of, this is the way I am. So maybe if you are hanging around a bunch of alcoholics and you want to be making better decisions every day for your health, do you see how these two things are connected? All right. Aquarius rising or sun. Have you long held the belief that you have to be cutthroat in order to make it in this world, or that you must have some sort of status and authority to be considered a powerful person? During this eclipse, you could allow yourself to shed this false belief. When we allow ourselves to release control and surrender to who we are at our core, we can open up to greater capacity for creativity and joy. You don't have to try so hard, Aquarius. I think that's the main message. You don't have to control everything in order to make it to some great social status in life or career or pinnacle. I think Aquarius really wants to be a leader, and that's natural. But I think that may be a cultural conditioning situation as well. Let me look at this chart really quick to look at when I wrote my notes, what I was talking about. Right. Because Uranus is in your 4th house, of course. Yeah, so we're sort of breaking out and freeing ourselves from cultural conditioning with this Aquarius rising. The sun is in your 11th house of groups and goals. And so therefore the opposite of that is your own inner enjoyment and inner fulfillment. Do you think kids really care about, it's like, I think maybe the message is don't be the kid that plays King of the Mountain because you don't care about being King of the Mountain. Be the kid that does something cool that just, fulfills your own inner playfulness and your joy. Of course, maybe some of you Aquarius risings like being King of the Mountain. This is really about connecting with your inner child and doing away with beliefs that hold you back from that place of fun, creativity, enjoyment. It's not all about being the best. I think that's what I'm trying to get at, because Mercury is in Scorpio in your 10th house. Okay, Pisces rising your sun. This eclipse is an opportunity to clear out false information that has you feeling alienated from the world around you. It's almost as if you've always felt like the only control you have in life is by being different than your family or the culture that you originate from. It's like you must strike out into a different land or country to find yourself. But I think during this eclipse, you can allow yourself to open up to new information about your family or about your roots, new ideas about them. You can open up to the possibility that you do belong just as you are. You don't have to run away to find a home that you fit into. It's like coming back home to yourself and your family and going, you know what, this is me. So I think exploring and listening to your roots during this time and allowing yourself to learn from them is a good idea. It could set you up for greater success in the future. Look at you, Pisces rising. Yeah. This could be too about maybe being raised in a religion that you felt like you had to individuate from, or like, that's how you have control, is individuating from the belief system instilled in you, right? But I think exploring your roots and really, why did your family have this belief system? Why did you feel like you needed to kind of get out, get away? Pisces rising, Pisces sun. All right. Well, I think I'm done with the signs. I don't know if there's anything else to share. I could share a little bit about the future. But I think I'm going to stop it here because I want to come back on video. I did this a little bit late in the game. I drove all day and I'm tired. This is about travel too, Sagittarius and Gemini. Gemini rules short trips and Sagittarius rules travel. So that's an interesting tidbit. And I was traveling, and now I'm exhausted, but I still had to come on and do this because I've made a commitment to myself that I will come on for right before or however long before the new and the full moons every time. I want to give these updates. I think they're important. I think they help. I hope they help. I really do. If you want to know more about your chart, please get at me. I do sessions. Let's go to ecstaticastrology.com. You can book straight from there. You can read the blog that I probably have to edit. I'm pretty sure I have to edit that blog that I wrote because I know that I wrote it, like when it wasn't my turn to drive, and probably some misspellings and grammar stuff going on there. Someone said my hair. Mary Jane did this hair, by the way. Birming hair on Instagram. She's wonderful. It's already starting to fade a little bit because this red is crazy, and like, how does it stay this red forever? Doesn't. But it's sort of fading into this flame sort of situation, which I like. It's Sagittarius fire, right? All right, you guys, have a good evening and a good eclipse, and holler at me. Please leave a comment, share, and always get in touch with me because I love to hear from you. And I love you guys. Okay. Let's see, which one do I want to end first? Bye. I'll end the Instagram live first. Bye. And all right, I'll end the Facebook live. Bye, you guys.